Have you ever stopped to think about the true weight of your actions? I'm not just talking about the big, life-altering decisions, but the small, everyday choices we all make. Do they just disappear? Or do they actually ripple outwards in ways we can't even begin to imagine? It's a really profound question, isn't it? Well, today, we're going to explore that very idea, but we'll do it by looking at a collection of ancient stories that have been grappling with this for centuries. So, our source for this is a super fascinating text from the Buddhist tradition. And don't worry, this isn't some dry philosophical book. No, it's a collection of really powerful stories, and each one is just this stark, clear illustration of cause and effect. All right, so let's walk through some of the most striking tales from this collection. We're going to explore how they frame the relationship between, what we do, what we intend, and what ultimately ends up happening. Okay, so this first set of stories really establishes a core theme for the whole text, and it's this idea that even the smallest, simplest gesture, if it's done with a pure heart, can have absolutely cosmic consequences. So I want you to picture this scene. It's a scorching hot day, right? The sun is just beating down, and a simple shepherd is out tending his flock when he spots the Buddha walking all alone, with zero shade to protect him from that relentless heat. Now this shepherd, he's got no wealth, no fancy offerings to give, but he's moved by compassion, and he just does what he can with what he has right there. He quickly gathers up some grass and weaves this simple, temporary little parasol, just to shield the Buddha, even if it's only for a moment. So what happens because of this small, selfless act? Well, get this. The Sutra says the shepherd receives 13 eons of good fortune. I mean, we're talking about being born into noble circumstances in both heavenly and human realms. The reward is just completely out of proportion to the act itself, and that is the key point here. And this isn't just a one-off story, The text immediately reinforces this principle with another tale. This time it's a Brahmin, a wise man who sees the Buddha. He's just overcome with joy at his presence, so he respectfully circles him once and offers a single short verse of praise. And that's it. That's the whole act. And his reward for that simple moment of reverence, 25 eons of good fortune, and he's protected from ever falling into a state of suffering. So again, you see the crucial point here, right? It's not about how big the action is. It's all about the purity and sincerity of the intention behind it. Okay, so as we move into our next section, the sutra really builds on this idea. But now it introduces this really powerful contrast, pitting immense wealth against a single selfless gesture. It's a great setup. So on one side, you've got this guy, Mahana Mama. He's actually richer than the king, but he is completely consumed by greed. And on the other side, you have King Kankavarmi, a ruler whose kingdom has been devastated by famine, and he is literally down to his very last bite of food. Mahadanama's story is just this perfect portrait of attachment. I mean, he hoards all his wealth, he wears rags, he eats old, stale food, and he never, ever shares a single thing. His entire world is just closed off, defined only by what he possesses and his constant fear of losing it. So what's the consequence for this life of selfish hoarding, even with all that wealth? It's severe. The sutra describes his rebirth in a fiery hell, and after that, countless lifetimes as a hungry ghost, forever tormented by the very same hunger and thirst that he refused to help in others. Okay, but now, in complete contrast, look at the king. His kingdom has suffered through a drought for 12 long years. People are starving, and he's holding his own last meal in his hands. And at that exact moment, a holy man appears, and the king, without even a second of hesitation, gives away the last food he has, knowing full well it could mean his own death. And this is where the story just brilliantly illustrates that central theme. The king's single act, born from pure intention and just immense sacrifice, creates a miraculous result. The drought breaks, and the heavens rain down not just water, but food, clothing, and treasures, saving his entire kingdom. So the stories we've looked at so far are pretty powerful, right? But now, the sutra pushes this whole principle to its absolute limit, with tales of, well, almost unimaginable self-sacrifice. This next story, it starts with a truly harrowing scene. There's a compassionate queen named Varmagati, and she discovers a woman who has been driven so mad by starvation that she is about to kill and eat her own infant child. There is literally no other food anywhere. The queen sees only one solution. In what can only be described as an ultimate act of compassion, she takes a knife and she cuts off her own breast, offering her own flesh so that both the mother and child can live.
The sutra then gives us another story of ultimate sacrifice, but this time it's not for compassion, it's for wisdom. We have a king who is so desperate to hear a single verse of true teaching that he would do anything. And of course, a teacher appears and names a price. And the price is that the king must carve 1,000 niches into his own body to be used as oil lamps.
And the king, he agrees, just like that. He undergoes this absolutely excruciating ordeal, turning his own body into a living candelabra, all just to hear one single sentence of truth. And this is the verse he's sacrificed everything to hear. It's a simple but incredibly profound statement on the nature of impermanence, that core teaching that all things are transient. But you have to ask, why? Why these incredibly extreme acts? Well, the motivation is absolutely key. In every single one of these cases of ultimate sacrifice, the vow is the same. It's not for personal gain. It's not for some reward in heaven. It's a vow to use the merit from this act to achieve enlightenment for the explicit purpose of ending the suffering of all beings.
So what does all of this add up to? What are all these stories trying to tell us? Well, at the end of the day, they're all parables. They're illustrating what in Buddhism is known as karma, that inescapable law that every single action driven by a specific intention is going to produce a corresponding result. And this really sums it all up beautifully. You've got a simple grass parasol offered with pure reverence, and it leads to eons of good fortune. Then you have the miser's selfish attachment, and that leads to endless suffering. And finally, the ultimate sacrifice driven by this boundless compassion that sets a person on the path to enlightenment itself. The message from the sutra could not be clearer. Your intention is absolutely everything. These ancient tales, as dramatic and extreme as they might seem, they're really just powerful metaphors, aren't they? They're asking us to seriously consider that nothing we do is meaningless, that every single thought, every word, and every deed sends a ripple out into the world. So, the only question left for us is, what kind of ripples will you create today?